gentlemen, can you all please rise for the pledge of allegiance led by Commissioner? I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Alton, Commissioner Creighton, Commissioner Acevedo.
Present.
Commissioner Lees,
Present.
Commissioner Brooks,
Present.
Commissioner Leonetti,
Present.
Chairman Morelli.
President.
Commissioners Alton and Creighton are absent.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to make a brief announcement. If anybody is here and is interested in these two cases, the case numbers are 3368, which is to maintain a professional office at 156 Franklin, and then the other case is 3371. The address of that is 55 East Beach. Those two cases are not going to be voted on tonight. So if anybody's here interested in them, they're not going to be in.
Case number 3372, application of Jose Rivera of 123 West Fulton Street, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following sections of the zoning code of ordinances of the City of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.3K use, 9-112 off-street parking, 7-131B accessory structure to convert a one-family house into a two-family house at 123 West Fulton Street, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 278, Lot 14, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, please state your name, address, and why you're here.
Andrew Braum, B-R-A-U-M, 1924 Belmore Avenue, Belmore, New York, 11710. I am an engineer, and I'm representing Mr. and Mrs. Jose Rivera, who are here in the audience tonight with their son.
All right, so, basically, you're here because of a two-family house, a new house, am I correct?
It's an existing home being proposed to be converted into a legal two-family.
Okay. Now, we have the other items of the code that are cited as the off-street parking, the accessory structure. The accessory structure, is that something that's previously existing, or is that something that you're planning to add?
So that's a maintain of an existing shed that is 1 foot 2 from the property line, and it's depicted on our site plan.
What's the lot size?
The lot size is 35 by 100.
Okay. So, the first question I have for you is, how can you describe the changes that will be in the interior of this home? In other words, what is the apartment going to look like?
So the existing home currently is a two-story, single-family home that has an existing stairwell that goes straight up on the right-hand side of the house up to 2 bedrooms there. The only change that's going to be made is a wall will be proposed to be constructed to separate that stair from the first floor apartment, and a kitchen will be constructed on the second floor. There'll be no increase in the square footage of the home, and the family members who currently live or had lived upstairs will no longer be living there, so there'll be no net increase in the number of occupants in the actual dwelling.
Okay. So my first question to you is why the permanent variance for a two-family home instead of a temporary conditional variance? In other words, what is the reason that the two-family house is justification?
The homeowners who are here with me this evening, their children are of older age and no longer, and sorry, I can't see you well because of that light.
Yeah, well, the lights also are.
All right, thank you. Is that okay for you, Ms. Court Reporter? Okay, thank you. So the homeowners who currently live there now, essentially the whole upstairs will not be used. And by having a two-family legal, they'll be able to have some income, which would supplement any of their income in their
And that's fine.
Ages.
I understand that there's a financial hardship. I mean, usually, you know, we might ask for financials, but my first question to you again would be, why would they want this to be a permanent situation? Obviously, it's going to increase the value of the house, you know, because now they've got a legal too. And quite honestly, the tax jump isn't really that big for what I've seen, you know, legal one and two. But at the same time, if they had a conditional variance, that as long as they occupied the house themselves, you know, they would have this variance that would be renewed every couple of years, you know, based on the necessity for them to have this additional income, which I totally understand. But the thing is, what I find concerning is the fact that, let's just say, these folks own this house for another couple of years and they decide, you know, to move to Florida, whatever, you know, now they've got a two-family home that they can sell or flip, and they've got people that will now buy the house and, you know, who knows what they're gonna do with it, you know, in terms of renting and so forth. So my question to you would be, would your client, the applicant, be willing to accept a conditional variance for a two-family usage that would be renewed every 2 years?
So,
Because that would serve their purpose.
so the renewal is there a time frame greater than 2 years, or is that
No.
what this board is?
You know, it was all over the place, but several years ago it was changed to 2 years. But it's a very simple process. I mean.
You just come before you and make sure that nothing's
Yeah, the applicant
changed?
would come before the board themselves, and they would just, you know, basically say, okay, you know, we'd like to renew, nothing's, questions usually are like, what's changed, nothing's changed. And I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever seen one of them get denied.
And,
I have a question, please. The individuals who were living there upstairs, were they paying rent?
no, they're part of the family
Right,
there.
so-
I can't tell you if they paid rent and helped contribute to the household, because it's not,
Right.
I'm not
And-
privileged to that.
And how long have the applicants owned the house for?
30 years? 30 years or more.
30 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't appear that there's any hardship involved to warrant any
Well, the
kind of-
hardship is what's occurring now, is that they're getting older, and the children are moving out, so there won't be any use for that
Right.
space, and no one else will be contributing to the household. And,
I have a question. So the children were living upstairs
yes,
and they were sharing the kitchen downstairs with their
Yes.
parents?
yes,
So the photos that were submitted, just I'm looking through the photos, it looks
Yeah.
like with the cathedral ceiling, second floor, there's a refrigerator, there's a toaster oven, there's a microwave. So again, the children were living upstairs and this wasn't being used as an apartment?
definitely not a non-family member and income-producing apartment. And they've lived there 30 years or more, as we're told, and they're coming before you today because they want to do it legally.
All right.
That's why.
Are they retired, the applicant's retired, or?
Both retired? Yes. They're both retired. And,
You know, I don't have any other questions, although I would be much more, let's say, leaning towards, if anything, a temporary conditional variance. I mean, I don't like the fact that, you know, grant something that is going to already was an apartment that, you know, basically could have been used by anybody as a residence.
There's only one entry, there's only one
entry.
entry.
That, you know, there was, let's say, cooking facilities of sorts, you know, maybe not a sink, but there certainly was a fridge and a microwave, et cetera, that people could eat. The question though becomes, will your client be willing to resubmit to request a temporary conditional variance? They can tell you right now, and
Is-
if you want
is-
to represent that to us and then ask for a vote, you know, the vote might be different based on what we're being asked to grant.
So is that something that needs to be renoticed, or is that something I could
No,
ask them? Okay.
you can discuss it with your clients
Okay.
right now.
So prior to me doing that, I would just like to,
And tell us before we, let's say, close the case, or the case can remain.
okay, I can get that answer. I would like to just submit letters of support from the neighbors here. They did knock on all the doors.
Yeah.
So, here are these, and I just want to make a comment with the off-street parking as well. There currently is no parking now, and there is plenty of parking on National, which is, even when I went to the house, that's where I parked. And, Mr. Chairman, can I have a moment to speak to my client? Thank you.
Yeah, while they're speaking, I'd like to hear from the audience to save a little time, unless you want to.
We would respectfully accept that or request to change the request to a conditional variance to be renewed every 2 years per our discussion.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I'm going to hear from the audience now. Anybody would like to speak in favor of the application? Anybody want to speak against it? All right, anybody want to make a motion on the application?
Not ready to make a vote.
Not ready to make a motion? But we're going to hold it over then and vote on it next month.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Raffle, when you're, I'll take those back whenever you're. Case number 3373, application of Maurice Ryan of 95 Illinois Avenue, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following sections of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.19A use, 9-105.19C lot area, 9-105.19D building area, 9-105.19G rear yard, 9-105.19I density, for a new two-family house at 8 Delaware Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 269, Lot 26, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
Before we get started on this, just one correction for the record. Section 9-105-19, subsection G, rear yard, there is a typo in the code requirement. The code does not require a rear yard of 15 feet, it requires a rear yard of 20 feet. So at this time, if the board so pleases, may I make a motion to amend the bylaw?
Second.
What are we doing?
We're amending the rear yard should be 20 feet.
Okay, who made the motion? Okay, so Chairman Riley introduced a motion to amend the denial letter. Commissioner Leonetti has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Lees?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
Chairman Riley?
Mr. Randall, do you have any objection to the denial?
I have no objection, counsel. We were prepared for that. I saw that myself. Kenneth Apple, 30 West Park Avenue, Suite 202, on behalf of the applicant. Here before you, on behalf of Maurice Ryan, who owns 8 Delaware Avenue. The applicant's here tonight to seek what we believe to be a reasonable request from the board. We're asking for variances to construct a new FEMA-compliant home at this location. As you're aware, the property is on Delaware Avenue, a wide wide West End block. This house is two homes from the beach. My clients have lived in Long Beach for approximately 18 years. They have a home at 95 Illinois where they reside, and they're about in a home at about the same square footage as they're seeking here. Long Beach is their permanent residence. They're seeking to move from Illinois to Delaware strictly because of the ocean view and the proximity to the ocean. They have two children who were raised in Long Beach, attend the schools here. They happen to be here tonight with my client, and they were here and lived through Sandy and reconstructed the home on Illinois afterwards. South of Beach Street, there's approximately 30 homes that are already FEMA compliant and constructed. I did the quick count today. It's a two-family home currently, and that's what we're looking to keep it as. We're not seeking a variance for a two-family home. It's currently a two-family home. One very large advantage is currently it's a non-owner occupied two-family home. If this is approved and constructed, this is where his family plans to move into and reside for good. The second apartment is merely a one-bedroom apartment. Ultimately, down the road, they want to put an in-law in there or a family member, but it's a small apartment anyway. The front of the property is going to be customary with what this board usually sees, the setbacks with the decks and the posts. We're not seeking any height. We're not seeking any side yards. No encroachment in consideration of the north and south neighbors. I want to put on the record that our rear yard currently has a 14-foot wide garage, which is currently 2 feet from the property line. With these plans, we're going to remove that in its entirety, and the parking will now be under the FEMA compliant home like all the other homes down there. The 20-foot setback, we're still going to leave 10 feet. The additional 3 feet is a tiny cantilever deck off the master bedroom. It's 3 feet wide. It's literally to go out and just take a look at the ocean and have a cup of coffee. This is after removing the 14-foot structure. We're still going to have 10 feet. Our rear yard setback's actually less intrusive with this plan than it currently is. If you look at it now, like I said, the structure, just 2 feet from the property line, is 14 feet wide. I'm going to hand out a set of photos to the board. What that'll show is that these rear yard setbacks and encroachments are common south of Ocean View in the west end.
Mr. Reynolds, question.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
With respect to the denial letter, it says that the proposed rear yard is going to be 7 feet. Is that incorrect? In fact, it is going to be 10 feet?
Well, it's 10 feet. It's 7 with that little cantilever deck. Everything else, the structure itself is 10 feet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. With those photos, I'm just looking to show that the encroachments on the rear yard south of Ocean View are common in the west end. Photo number 1 is a photo from New Hampshire to Vermont Street. Number 2 is Tennessee to Virginia. Number 3 is Georgia to Louisiana. And number 4 is Maryland to Minnesota. The applicants are spending nearly $1 million to complete this home so they can reside there permanently. There's a rendering in the file as part of the plans that you're going to see what the home looks like. I don't think anybody will have an issue with the aesthetics of that home. To go through the legal criteria of this variance, there will be no undesirable change to the neighborhood. The changes of the variance have been regularly granted by the board, particularly in the west end post-storm. The applicant chose the encroachment so they could access in and out of the home and enjoy the front area, obviously with the deck, and the rear cantilever area. They're still leaving, like I said, a 10-foot setback in the rear yard. They're not substantially encroaching on any rear neighbors. The second criteria is the applicant cannot achieve this by any of the feasible means. There is no way. The only other way is to go up, and we're not seeking height. We're literally adding 900 square feet to the house from what it is now. It's going from like 1,400 to 2,300. So the only way to build a home with any kind of room is to go one way or the other, and we chose the one with the most room, which was to the rear. We don't believe it's substantial. It seems to be standard, as I displayed with the photos. This is a west end lot. There's not, like I said, not much room to design any further. The last legal criteria is it's not going to have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. I don't know how a $1 million brand new house, 2 houses from the beach, can negatively impact anyone. It's obviously going to raise the property values. It's going to give him the opportunity to reside there with his family, for the rest of his life. So we believe we have a very simple application which has been regularly granted post-storm. We're going to have a brand new FEMA-compliant home with sufficient parking. This family is obviously completely invested in our community and really seeking what we believe a minimal, non-intrusive zoning application necessitated by the current design and layout of the home. Thank you for your time, I appreciate your consideration.
Mr. Apple, just out of curiosity, they would plan on residing on the second floor level and renting the first?
I believe the apartment's on the first floor in the back. They're going to reside on the two levels. The master bedroom is going to be where that cantilever little extension is.
Okay, so then where would the entrance be then to the apartment in the back?
I believe it's in the, it's on the side, right on the side there.
So it's a very small unit, it's a one-bedroom with a combination kitchen and living room?
Yes.
Yep.
Ultimately, our goal is to put a family member in there. We just wanted to maintain the status.
Do you know what the current size of the house is and footprint?
I believe it's 1,900 square feet. I don't know about the footprint. If you may, if you don't have any more questions, my client would like to say something.
Well, fine.
Come on up, Mason.
Hi, good evening.
How you doing? Morris Ryan, 95 Illinois Avenue, Morris Ryan. I'd just like to make myself available also if you had any questions. So basically, moved over here in 96, rented houses in Long Beach every summer for 10 years, bought a house in Long Beach 2006. We were here during Sandy. We loved Long Beach, but after Sandy we decided we're probably going to leave. We got some advice off other people, look at these neighborhoods, look at these neighborhoods. We didn't find anything we liked. We decided then we're going to stay in Long Beach, knocked down the house on Illinois Avenue, built a big house. I actually had a double lot, so it was great. Built a 3,500 square foot house. But my dream was always to just have a view. Where I am in Illinois, you can't see the bay, you can't see the ocean. As time went on, I knew a realtor who knew I always wanted a house by the water. I came back from Ireland one time on vacation, and she told me, I have a house going for sale, a lovely old lady selling a house, one off the water. I went down to see it, and we signed on it like a month later. So then I rented it out for a year or two, just so to get funds together, to get plans together. Then COVID hit. I have a bar in the city, restaurants in the city. They're all shut down, so the plans were put on hold. And now I'm in a position now to build a dream house, one off the water. And that's what I've always wanted. So if you have any questions, I'm available. Yeah. And the basic, why we're keeping the one bedroom is basically because it's a two-family at the moment. And obviously everybody will advise if you have a two-family, keep it as a two-family. We always have family coming over here. We have no family in this country. It's just me, my wife, and my two kids. So we have people coming from Ireland all the time. And now we kind of realize, like I have a 6-bedroom house on Illinois, but it would be nice if a mother or our grandparents come over and they had their own kitchen and their own living room to sit down and watch TV in their own space. And there's a constant stream of visitors coming over. That's why we have that, not to rent it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you'd want tenants in the house like that.
Exactly. I wouldn't be building something like that with the tenants.
Yeah. Can we hear from the audience? Does anybody want to speak in favor?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry. Anybody in favor? Anybody against? Against. Folks, okay. Give everybody a chance. Come on up, sir. Your name and address. Whoever wants to speak is fine.
Brian and Janice Costigan, we live next door, 14 Delaware.
14, so you're to their north, right?
Yes.
Yes. Going towards the beach.
Yes.
Okay.
So our house currently sits at the back end of the property. I believe it was from the pictures I saw, it was the original house on the beach before it got rezoned, with the other places in. The proposed removal of the 20-foot setback completely takes away all our beach view. It cuts it more than in half. So our house is 1,200 square feet with 130 square feet of depth. And if you take that back, we don't actually see the beach anymore.
How far back does the existing home go down? In other words, if you know, in other words, towards the setback?
So the way that the house, he said where they're not going up, I mean, if he has to go up if he's gonna park cars underneath it. The house sits 18 inches off the ground as it is now.
Right.
So he's gonna go up, and he's going
He's
back.
not asking for a variance, though.
I know, I understand that, and I have no problem with it.
No, I know.
But like, the problem is, if he goes to the back, we have no beach view. He cuts it more than in half. We have pictures showing what it's gonna look like, what we end up having if it is approved. You know, we have 4 kids, there's 6 of us in a 1,200 square foot house. The bedrooms are 9 by 7 for the kids. Like,
We sit out there all the time.
We need
so.
that upper deck space and everything else to be able to see. And it's the whole reason we bought the house.
How long
Was
is
for the
that?
view. 3 years?
And the previous owners had the fight with the people, not a
Just give
fight.
us your name, too, so we have specific on the record. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm Janice. Nice to meet you. The previous owners of our house had told us that they spoke with the owners of the people on the beach, that they were never going to be able to block our view, anybody in front of us, because they've already gone through this, and they assured us that that was not.
It was part of the sales pitch. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was, the original house on the beach was not allowed to go back. They were stopped. So he said, you're never.
We see
gonna-
over their
You're
garage.
never gonna have a problem. And the structures she's talking about, they're 1-story structures. Our house is already up that story, because our garage is underneath. So we have a direct view of the beach on the second level and our top deck.
Your house is 1 level or 2?
2, with our parking. with-
One off, like in other words, one off the parking level, or
It's, is it a cave? A beach bungalow?
we do have photos.
We only got this notification like 12 days ago, with back to school and running a business and stuff. I haven't really got their time and effort to really do this. My father-in-law, who's lived on the block for 40-something years, do you mind if he comes up and speaks on our behalf? But
And I just want to say one more thing. I understand that you do, like, your dream. His dream is also to have beach views, and that's why we brought our property. I have 4 kids, and we sit out there every morning and every night, and we're extremely upset about this, so,
Now, you folks live in this house, right, am I correct?
for the summers.
Is it Tuckahoe address somewhere? What is
yes,
that now?
so
That's
this is our 2 homes, but our in-laws live on the block, so we're out here constantly. We're out here July and August the whole time. A lot of times into September, the kids come out here. You know, we do Christmas out here. We use the house.
We never shut it down.
We never shut it down. We never rent it out.
Okay, but your primary residence is in Tuckahoe?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Did you say your father-in-law wanted to come up?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm the mother-in-law. No, I'm the mother and mother-in-law.
Name and address.
Pass these out, please.
It's Kathleen Gaetano, 33 Delaware Avenue, Long Beach, New York.
Okay, and you'll have to give your name and address, please.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to just, yeah,
Okay.
it's Tanner, right?
Yes.
All right.
Um,
Come up with your name. Go ahead.
Below is a list of neighbors on Delaware Avenue who want to welcome Morris Ryan and your family as they build their proposed new home at 8 Delaware Avenue. We understand there are several variances being requested to build their new home and have concerns. This petition is focusing on only the backyard setback of 20 feet according to code. We believe that the home should be built according to code for the backyard of the house, which should have 20 feet of open space. The variance is requesting that the backyard have only 7 feet of open space. If the variance is granted, the house next door, 14 Delaware Avenue, owned by Janice and Brian Costigan, would lose most of their limited ocean view from their small deck, not to mention blocking an ocean breeze and darkening the home for this young family with 4 children. The proposed plan includes 4 decks. The second floor is 37 feet by 9 feet. The third floor is 22 feet by 10 feet. The third floor rear is 12 feet by 7 feet. And the rooftop deck is 37 feet by 30 feet. We as neighbors believe these 4 decks with a total of approximately 1,747 square feet should provide them with an abundance of ocean views. We believe our beautiful Long Beach ocean views should be shared by as many neighbors as possible. We hope the zoning board considers our request to deny the variance for rear yard 9-105.19G setback of 20 feet when deciding on the variances requested. Thank you for your consideration to this matter. We have 31 signatures from people who live on Delaware Avenue, all homeowners, who agreed with this petition. Thank you very much.
How you doing? My name is, excuse me, Frank Gaetano. All right, we've said enough about my daughter's house. We also have Richard and Kimberly Aftanis Schwanza. Richard is Aftanis, A-F-T-A-N-A-S, and we just know him as Richard and Kimberly, but Schwanza is Kimberly's last name, and Steve and Michelle Beinacker. They live on the 877 and 869 oceanfront. They're also touching the property. Steve and Michelle, the ones that are on the beach, right in the, I guess it's the south side of this house, they just installed solar panels. The solar panels will be blocked by the extra 13 feet. Once he goes up 2 stories, we know the height for the regular house, but once he goes up 2 more stories and goes back 13 feet, the sun that comes up in the east, especially in the summertime, it's going to throw a shadow over it. They just installed them this year, the solar panels.
They're to the south of
They're the south. They're right on the beach.
Right, but don't the solar panels face the south? They don't have
No, actually, these face north because that's the slope of their house. Their house is sloped this way, right on the beach. They don't have, what do you call it, solar panels in the front of the house because there is no roof. Everything's pitched this way.
It's kind of an odd.
Yeah, it is definitely an odd one.
Yeah. I mean, they usually never face north.
No, I know, but whatever value they get from the north, when you put the house 13 foot more back and the sun's rising this way, it's going to cast a shadow most of the time.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Talking about the shadow. I realize that this house is probably bigger and taller than the house that exists now.
Right.
But the house that's there now and shorter, does the setback go back as far on that existing?
No, actually, he has 7
That's
foot.
short.
The house that they have right now has exactly about 7 more feet they can build to the 20-foot setback. They have 8 foot more on one side to build, they have 5 foot more on the other side to build, and they have 7 foot more in the back that they could build legally without going for any variances. That's almost 1,700 square foot of living space that they could build legally without a variance for that other 13 feet. If you look at the apartment that they have is all in that back part. It takes up most of that 13 feet they're looking for. If you look at the floor plan. I could go through a lot more. You know, the 600-foot apartment is a little bit of a stretch for us. We don't want it to be an Airbnb with my grandchildren and different people coming in every day. But if he says he's going to have family there, so be it. It is a 2-family house. We don't want to reject him building a 2-family house. But I'll tell you what, if it becomes an Airbnb, we have to make phone calls.
If it becomes an Airbnb, that goes against the state.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So, but we know what happens. I've been here for 42 years. You know, so my daughter's been here for 37 years. She was born, the first year that she was born, we were out here. Again, there's like 31 homeowners on a block. They're all against it. They're all homeowners. The main 3 are the 3 that are attached to it. I didn't even get into the Richard and Kimberly. They live on the east side, right behind. Now, If the house comes back 13 feet, it leaves a 7-foot, they're saying 10 foot because of the 3-foot deck. Even if it's 10 foot, it becomes a wind tunnel. It also blocks, if you look at the pictures, the first picture you'll see an area view of where he can go, how much he still has legally, and where he really wants to go back to. The second picture outlines how much bigger he wants to make the house in the second page. The purple line all around is how much he wants to make the house. The black line is where he can actually go back to. That's like an overhead shot of it. I said that's an overhead shot. The purple lines is what he's building to, or he wants to build to. It's showing that he still got room on the both north side and south side. And it shows that he still has 7 foot in the back. That's 1,700 square feet of living space between the 2 floors. That's a lot of space. On page 3 is my daughter's view right now. Underneath it would be the view cut down to a 7-foot backyard. On page 4 shows you the solar panels. It also shows you the deck in the back of his house right now. That's the 7 foot he could still legally come out. You see the post on the left-hand side? That's how far back he wants to come. On the bottom picture shows you Richard and Kimberly's house. Shows you what kind of a wind tunnel and how it will block those, I guess, the afternoon sun from coming into those windows at the bottom. The codes were made for a reason. We all built our houses after Sandy, redid everything, we all stuck to the codes. So we're just asking that they stick to the code. We welcome to the neighborhood. We're a great bunch of people. Everybody on our block, you see 31 people are sticking up for my daughter and our neighbors. That's 31 homeowners. We are good people. We just want what's right is right. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Stratton, I'll come back up and respond to some of those questions.
There was a lot of legal talk, but I don't think there's any restrictive covenants for, I'm going to run the property at 14 Delaware and see if there's any restrictive covenants regarding the view. I would highly doubt there is. Certainly that's something, if it was promised, would be in the deed. I've seen it before. Obviously, I'm a real estate attorney. I've been doing it for 24 years. So when I will submit that to the board and see if there are any restrictive covenants regarding view of the ocean from 14 Delaware. I'd like to hand this to you. This is the line where we propose it's going to be, and has an overhead view of the current deck at 14, which shows that they do have a clear shot to the ocean anyway, even with this. Also a lot about shadows and wind tunnels. Certainly I can prepare a shadow study and submit it to the board. I'm happy to do so. But other than that, I guess I'll rebut. I assume none of those 31 people that signed that petition sought a variance to do their houses. I'm going to make that assumption. They sought a variance to do their houses, so I'm going to make that assumption. But I'll get the list and we'll figure that out. But we'll rest for tonight, and hopefully. I said, I assume that out of those 31 people that signed the petition, none of them sought variances on their house. I'm going to make that assumption.
No. 3 people, maybe 3 people also the variance.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So I'll handle that this month. I appreciate it.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, when I get the list of the the objections, I'm going to see who sought variances and who didn't from the board to build their homes. Thank you.
All right, well, this case will remain, Mr. Gaetano, come up. You heard what he said about what his comment.
Sorry. The people in the front, Steve and Michelle, built their house a few years back. They stuck to the 20-foot rule. They also have a 3-foot deck. If you look at the picture, it's in the top right-hand corner of page 3. You'll see on the northeast side of the house, that's the 3-foot deck that sticks out. That's at 20 foot. They had to adhere to it. We expect them to do the same. Thank you.
Well, just so everybody understands, the case will remain open this month, excuse me, the case will remain open until next month. And if anybody wants to submit anything until the next meeting, you have time to do so. All right.
Case number 3374, application of Allison Peisner of 420 Lafayette Boulevard, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-113.2G off-street parking, for new off-street parking in the front yard at 420 Lafayette Boulevard, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 46, Lot 73, on the Nassau County Land and Tax map.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Neil Peisner, 441 West Penn Street, Long Beach, New York. Allison is my 27-year-old daughter. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight and witness this wonderful experience here. She's on a she's on a business trip in Florida for a very important project. So I'm here as her surrogate. I'm very familiar with the case, very familiar with Long Beach and the property. I could run through any questions that you may have or elaborate on any of the details of it. But we tried to put out a presentation that would answer many of the questions you may have in advance. I think it was fairly complete with many photographs. But again, as you saw, she is a first-time homeowner, purchased this house approximately a year ago. It's a legal two-family house. Property does not have a garage, nor does it.
I noticed that's really interesting when that jumped out at me in your packet. I mean, you did a thorough job. But it's interesting that it is on a 60 by 100, am I correct?
It's a 60 by 100.
On a corner, and never had a driveway, curb cut of any means to park on the property.
Exactly. It never had it. Look back.
When did she buy the house?
It was basically early September of 22. So despite not having the driveway, she's familiar with the location. Everybody is, Dairy Barn. We live on the beach side, on the, just, walking distance to the house. So very familiar with the property. She wanted to be in our area, the West Home area. And despite the lack of parking, we still felt it was a good location, a good property with good bones, nice setup for a legal two-family, and felt that there would be sufficient parking along Lafayette Boulevard. And that's been fine for the year, but with the potential changes with the Dairy Barn site, Lancer property, there's a lot of unknowns. So she felt that having off-street parking would be best, in her best interest now, to get it done before, there's more activity with any construction going on, potential construction.
I got a question for you, just to get it on the record, okay? I'm going to show you a photograph, and, okay, so now you have your daughter's house, and to the east of the property, there's this driveway. I just want to make sure on the record that driveway belongs to the house. That is not her house.
That's not her house. There's a concrete pathway, walkway, which is about 7 feet, and then that concrete extends to the neighboring property. So the neighboring property on the I guess it'd be the south side of Chester,
Right.
second in.
Yes, that's
They
the
use
house.
that, they use that driveway.
Well, the house to the east of her.
Yeah, to the east of her.
Yeah, that's their driveway.
That's their driveway. You couldn't
Your
squeeze in a
daughter's
car.
property would end by that curb cut?
Yeah, yeah, as a matter of fact, right there. And we considered possibly widening that there, but it really is not feasible because there's fencing, there's gardens, there's a fire hydrant, and it wasn't feasible on Chester Street.
So if you're proposing the curb cut on the Lafayette Boulevard side, on the south side of her house, let's say, you wouldn't be taking any parking because there's no parking there anyway.
I think it's a win for the city of Long Beach because we're basically taking two cars off the streets, giving them to the neighbors and putting them off, off street and putting them on her property. And we felt that was the best position they should be on that property because as you saw, it's a 60 by 100. There's plenty of garden space still. There's private yard space. And the space that we're proposing is really the most feasible space that would, just make it, wouldn't detract from the value, wouldn't detract from the neighborhood, and would probably, enhance the value.
The rest of the yard on the north side of the property.
Yeah, the yard on the north side,
Yeah.
on the Chester Street side, well, half of that is garden space, part of it is private space,
Right,
that's
but
used
say
by the tenant.
When the walkway is to your daughter's house, you're proposing the curb cut, let's say, on the south side.
It would be on the south side.
If you propose it on the north side of the curb cut, it would eat up some of that yard space.
It would, yeah, and it would be too close to Chester Street too. So we felt that being, where we're proposing it would be the most convenient and most safe, safest way, to do it.
So the green area in between the dairy barn and the subject property,
That's her property.
that whole big area there is her
Right,
property? huh?
it's a grass yard,
Uh-huh.
a mature tree, her vegetable garden.
Uh-huh.
Really didn't want to give that up. It's fenced in, it's a great space for her dog to run around, it's sprinklered. So it would really detract from the value of the house if you had to pave that. So, because it's a corner property, you look at that as her front yard, but it really acts as her backyard, like her private backyard. So it's like if somebody asked you to put a car in your backyard, it just, kind of wouldn't make sense. So
And there's enough depth from the sidewalk to the house where you're showing
the
it?
surveys provided show it's approximately 20 feet. And the width in front of the house is also approximately 20 feet.
Right.
So felt 20 by 20 would be, a perfect size to pave over and make a suitable two-car parking area.
Anybody on the board with any questions? Anybody want to speak in favor of the application or against it? I move to grant.
I'll second that.
Case number 3374, application of Allison Peisner of 420 Lafayette Boulevard, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-113.2G off-street parking. For new off-street parking in the front yard at 420 Lafayette Boulevard, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 46, Lot 73, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. Chairman Morelli has introduced a motion to grant the application. Commissioner Acevedo has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Elise?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
Chairman Morelli?
Grant.
This application has been granted.
Thank you, Chairman and Board. Have a good evening.
Case number 3375, application of Angelo and Mary Pepe of 250 East Market Street, Long Beach, New York, for a variance from the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-113.2G off-street parking. For new off-street parking in the front yard at 250 East Market Street, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 123, Lot 133, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
I'm going to recuse myself from the case, and I'm just going to step up and name it on the record.
Kenneth Apple, 30 West Park Avenue, Suite 202, on behalf of the applicant, Pepe's. Good evening. They're asking for a simple application. This has been requested numerous times, even by myself, over the past few months. The Pepes have owned this house since 1993. It used to be a shared driveway on the west side, which was eliminated shortly after they took ownership of the home, 40 years ago. The neighbor put a deck there. There's no driveway. They haven't had a driveway. They've lived there since 1993. Currently, their street is undergoing a complete renovation. They're reconstructing the entire street. In doing so, they're taking out all the trees. So the tree that's on the left side in the front of their house is going to be removed. While that was being done and the street was being done, they sought the opportunity to look for a driveway on the left side of the home. It's going to be a 9x20. It's going to conform. All we need is your permission to park in that location so that they can have a parking spot. They raised their family there. They've been there for 40 years. Mr. Pepe worked for the city. And they're just seeking your relief for a parking spot in front of their home.
So the pictures that we have here, the tree that you're speaking about is the one with the blue ribbon around it, the big...
I don't have the pictures, Commissioner Acevedo, but...
This one here?
Yes, because to the left side, all the trees are going on the block. They're
Do you
redoing
know-
the entire street.
Would you know if there are any plans to put a new tree in?
I don't know. That's the city's doing it.
Because that would be in the way there, wouldn't it?
Well, they're not going to put that in, obviously, if we get a driveway. but-
Right.
Mr. Acevedo, having lived through a renovation of the street like right now, the Department of Public Works gives you kind of flexibility on where they put the trees, so.
I mean,
I'm
certainly,
sure they could put it off to the side.
yeah, certainly they would welcome a tree on the west side of the home, the center of the home, but
Is this a parking side of the street or no?
I think both sides are parking. It's Market Street. East Market. They have two cars. I mean, they've resided there forever. So they're not really losing an off-street space because they would be parking on the street anyway. So one of the cars would be on the street anyway.
Right.
Right now, there is no curb cut?
No.
What's the width of that piece of land there, where they're looking
Where the
to-
parking?
Yeah.
9x20. That's going to be the size of the spot.
And that doesn't infringe on the walkway
No,
on the left side?
no. You're a step ahead of me tonight.
I'm just making sure they're...
That's okay. I've agreed with you twice.
That's rare. Smoke this down.
And do we know proximity to other driveways? Is this going to kill just one spot, or might it kill two spots?
No, it's one spot. I think that, I believe that the next house is the corner house, and it faces Monroe. Am I right? It faces Monroe, right?
Corner house has two.
The driveway, that's the house on the corner.
And that's on this.
That's on, yes, that's on my side. My house is the next house.
Okay, so the driveway, as you see, is not near his house. They have a driveway towards Monroe.
Okay,
That's
so
the corner house.
we won't lose two street spots, we'll just lose one street spot. Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Want to ask the audience? I'm sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to step on you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this proposal? Pro or con? Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to grant.
I'll second it.
Case number 3375, application of Angelo and Mary Pepe of 250 East Market Street, Long Beach, New York, for a variance on the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-113.2G off-street parking, for new off-street parking in the front yard of 250 East Market Street, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 123, Lot 133, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. Commissioner Leonetti has introduced a motion to grant the application. Commissioner Lees has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Lees?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
This application has been granted.
Thank you.
Case number 3376, application of Sean Quinn of 87 Farrell Street, Long Beach, New York, for a variance from the following sections of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-108.8E rear yard, 9-105.8D side yard, for a new two-story attached garage at 87 Farrell Street, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 204, Lot 27, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
Good evening, folks. Name and address, tell us why you're here.
My name is Joe LaRocca. I'm the designer of record. This is Sean Quinn, homeowner at 87 Farrell Street. They're requesting a side yard and a rear yard setback variance. They currently have a one-floor, two-bedroom house without a garage. They are going to be starting a family next year. The second bedroom is currently used for storage. They'd like to add a garage to the house, create more parking for the neighborhood and for themselves, and while they're building the garage, build on top of that storage. Essentially make the storage room bedroom, true bedroom, and the storage on top will satisfy his fishing equipment and different things. Mr. Quinn's a New York City fireman. He plans to stay in the neighborhood for a long time, single-family residence, and many of the houses on the block have similar setbacks, especially for the side yard.
Now, the question, I have a couple of questions. The height and the addition that you're putting on, please just describe that for us.
We are within all of the other requirements for zoning. The height is basically...
In the garage area.
Yeah, in the garage area, it will be within the requirements of the zoning. I think I probably designed it to whatever the zoning parameters are or slightly under. If you'd want me to ask the height, I think. I have a height of about 25. Just enough to, do a roof.
Which is taller than the rest of the house.
It is taller than the current house. Yeah, the current house is one story.
And that'll be 2 feet off the property line, 25 feet?
The request today is for 2 feet off of the property line. Mr. Quinn had some conversations with the building department. They said there are other houses who have achieved that. We're open to a conversation. The side yard requirement is 20. The house is currently 20 to 22 feet, so you can't really do anything. The rear yard requirement is 4, so we're asking for relaxation. The goal of that really was to maximize the space, obviously, to push the garage as far back as possible and keep as much driveway for parking. That's really what drove that. But again, open to conversation.
Can that storage elevation be put on the house as opposed to the garage?
As a one-story, there's really
Well,
nowhere else.
It'll be a two-story, perhaps, the second half.
I'm not, well, you wouldn't be able to add it as a one-story space anywhere. It was most economical too, obviously, if you're doing an extension to build out some second-floor space.
How many doors go into the garage?
The garage door and a single front door.
Right now, or as
Well, there's no
proposed, as
garage right now.
proposed.
There's no garage right now.
Right, but I'm looking at your plans.
Correct.
And I see a picture showing one door right next to the...
Garage door.
The garage door.
Correct.
Is
That's
there
the
an
only door that
entrance?
goes to the garage. Because of the 2-foot around, we put the door in the front for access purposes. So it just gives you another option instead of opening the garage door to enter the garage.
Right, so is that the only other entrance, are these two doors? The garage door and the...
Is it connected to the house internally?
Yeah, there's a connection from, if you look, when you enter that door, you could either go left into the house or up the stairs to the storage. There's a door that will connect the first floor to the garage. So the garage is attached, and you can enter the garage from the
Main residence.
Yeah, totally.
So I think the question.
So we also set the garage, just wanted to, sorry.
Why do you need 2 doors, 2 entrances?
In the front?
To the garage, yeah, the other door other than the garage.
Well, again, I think there wasn't an opportunity to put like a side garage door because of the 2 foot. But I haven't talked to Ms. Quinn, but I don't know if that door is like a deal breaker, if you guys feel uncomfortable with it. I mean, there's no opportunity here, no intent to do anything with the second family there.
No, what I'm saying with that,
Yeah.
I mean, the only question was that down the road, you know, when people
Totally.
talk about the Airbnb situation and stuff, it wouldn't be beyond somebody's, let's say, imagination of turning that into an apartment, leaving the garage door on it, and now they got a separate entrance into it.
I understand. So the door, maybe I could speak with him about, but so we wanted to create stairs so that you could enter the garage, but not only get up to the storage and not leave the house. So over there, it was kind of nice to put the door so you could just enter the space for convenience. So I don't know. Yeah, if he's going in and out. Sorry, go ahead.
Sean Quinn, 87 Farrell Street, Long Beach, New York. I generally enter my house through the back door into the kitchen, groceries, things like that. That's the reason I'd have the door there to lead me towards my kitchen instead of the front of the house.
I mean, he has no intent, that door is for convenience, so, I mean, if it's a problem, then we can, again, we're open to a conversation. He's obviously in a rush with the growing family to do something here.
No, we understand. If no other members of the board have any questions?
I have some questions. Now, the drawing is marked storage up above the garage. It's not really storage, right?
It is.
I mean, my second bedroom right now, me and my wife are expecting our first kid, has a punching bag, a treadmill. That's, I just need my second bedroom. I'm trying to start my family.
No, so I understand. So it looks more like a bedroom or a living
If you
space
wanna
as
call it
opposed to
like-
storage.
Yeah, it's just, I need that second bedroom.
No, I understand, but calling it storage, I don't know if that is misleading to the building department as far as square footage usage or...
That's not my intention. If you guys
I'm
want to
sure it's
label
not
it
your
a bedroom or whatever it is, that's fine by me.
Also, 20, how high is the side of the house? 25 feet, 2 feet from the, the 2 feet from the lot line? I think that's, I haven't seen anything like that. And I'm not sure why it needs to be so high, so close to the property line.
We're keeping just a minimum ceiling on the second level of 8 foot. I could look into a lesser pitch. I was just trying to do, I work in a lot of different towns and some of them have, pitch requirements, so I could look into a more gradual pitch to bring the height down a little bit.
Well, a foot or two, in pitch is not the issue.
It might be a 1-on-3 or 1-on-2. I just have to, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I mean, it looks like my typical. I could flatten that for sure by, a couple of feet. If you have a number in mind.
It's still quite tall. Now, this is over 20 feet wide. Now, a garage doesn't need to be 20 feet wide.
The garage is not going to be 20 because of the stairs. The garage space will be 15 and a half. The rest of the space is taken up by the stairs to go up to the storage area. So 15 and a half, again, open to a conversation, trying to grab as much space, make it comfortable for his wife to get out of the car with a child, and leave as much space with the door opening. They want to utilize the garage for parking. So with the stairs going up and everything else designed, it's 15 and a half it will go up.
Yeah, just going over with Commissioner Leonetti with the height. Right now, you're showing that, the garage itself for the car is 15.6. Is there any way to collapse that 15.6 so you can gain the side yard back to in compliance so you don't need a variance for it? Right now.
The side yard setback is 20 feet, so you wouldn't be in compliance at any dimension. So obviously, that's but to that point, I mean, the 20 feet variance, I would assume is granted regularly, because driving around those blocks, many people are not at 20 feet.
Yeah, not at 2 feet.
No, again, open to a conversation, couldn't really go on the other side. He's sticking with an existing driveway, so there's no new curb cut. So, again, we had to come through the variance anyway, because it's 20 foot. So figured we'd get to this point, and I'm gonna adjust the house accordingly at no charge to the homeowner, however you guys see fit. And, construction cost is gonna be pretty much the same if they go 2 feet or trying to get as much bang for his buck to get the space he needs for, starting the family.
Now with this, you're still gonna be able to come from inside of the house into the garage and up the steps?
Yeah, there's an entrance, there's an access. So where we started the garage, we didn't want to lose a window, so that was the starting point. And we wanted to push it back as deep as possible, right? There is a door that will come off of the living room that you'll be able to go left up the stairs to the storage or right down to the garage. So you could everything from inside you could access.
So from inside, you can go upstairs to storage or downstairs to the garage, is that what you're saying?
Down a couple steps to the garage.
To the garage.
The only reason the steps have to go that way is because you can't bring the steps into the garage.
Good, yeah.
To the cars.
Well, if you lost 3 or 4 feet in the width, the overall width, you'd still have 12 to 12 and a half feet for parking, and it would give you 5 feet or 6 feet on the side of the house.
Yes, we did look at, a lot of the houses were granted a 4-foot setback, I think including.
Both my neighbors.
Both of his neighbors. He has checked with his neighbors, all his neighbors are on board. So with 4 feet was the dimension, if you could consider that, we've spoken about that, and, we put every 6 inches out, so 4 feet was considered, I could bump it into 4 feet, and like you said, it was squeezed in there.
That's something to consider.
What do you think? Then what would you like to see done? Would you like to see the narrow in the garage? Is that what you're asking?
Well, that's what I'm seeing here. It's a very, very comfortable size. It'd be very nice to have, but, squeezing the property line down to 2 feet, I don't know what precedent there is for that, and why it's necessary, and what's the impact on the next door's property.
Yeah, if you could, I see what you're saying, so the design too, if you look at it from the front, the garage door was centered with the wall that was left from the front entrance door.
Yeah.
So it's, in order to line up, you'd have to kind of pull in and go to the right a little bit to leave yourself enough door. So that's what, we're just trying to create as much space as possible.
Well, you have space in between the garage door and the personnel door, and you have space on the right-hand side of the garage also. So finding the feet, it looks pretty doable to me.
Okay, so is 4 feet more amicable?
I'd like feedback from the rest of the board.
I think 4 feet, that's where I was going at before, just so it's less intrusive on the neighbors with the height that you're going for.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Personally, I don't have necessarily a problem with the front door if you any explanation.
No, the personnel door makes sense. You don't want to open the garage door every time you have to go into the garage.
Bring in tools, bring in whatever. I mean, I'm good with the front door.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you guys about just, bringing it a little bit off the neighbors, but otherwise, it sounds much better.
Is the rear acceptable at the 2?
What do you guys think? personally really not bothering me, I mean, but the width and the height were a little bit, you know.
The peak height is on the side, right?
Yeah.
Not the back. Yes.
Yeah, because of the,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So you just have the
Because
eave.
I'm
You have the
not sure.
eave in the back, so it's not.
Normally I would put a peak there and run it, but the width of the house was not the right width, that's,
Right. So you're not going to have an eve,
any peak?
an overhang.
Oh, no, it's no overhang.
Yeah. Okay. I would go with bringing it in 2 feet and making it a
Yeah,
4
so-
foot on the side. And I think if you want
If we were to approve this, do we need a new plan, or, I mean, I think we could
I
probably.
think we could approve it as, yeah.
With amended plan?
What's that?
We're discussing whether we
I'll
have to.
adjust the plan right away. I mean, it'd be great to get the notice so that he can start talking to contractors and do his thing. I can adjust the plan very quickly. Get you guys.
We might be able to approve it now, just
Yeah,
verbally,
that would be
subject to you putting it in.
I mean,
You're leaving it with the 2 foot setback in the backyard?
Yeah.
I'd like to know whose lawnmower that is with the,
That's me. The old push
I
lawnmower.
love it.
It does the job.
You know, Steve, talking about the back too, I don't see any reason why you need to go for a variant, that much more of a variance in the back, you know. When you come off the stairs up at the top, you have 6 feet, which is way more than you need. I'm sorry? Why don't we hold it and have it resubmitted? And I'd like to consider what Steve brought up, maybe another foot in the back, because I don't see that hurting your design in any way.
The question was, could we vote on it tonight and just spell out what the conditions would be? But the sentiment from some of the members on the board is they would vote on it tonight because they'd like to see the plan just torn out, just draw it out, before they would vote on it, just so we don't have to spell everything out. It leaves less, you know, the imagination of just drawn out.
To that respect, I mean, I appreciate it, I can give you guys whatever you want, but honestly, if the 2 foot move is gonna be all setting a line, the house is gonna look exactly the same on pretty much every view, and the setback to the side is gonna show 4 instead of 2. So aesthetically, you know, the picture will still hold. There's no change to the windows and everything like that. If you guys are able to grant something where we know we can move forward in terms of planning and construction is his biggest concern, a little bit better, and having the feeling that you can get somebody a deposit and start filing the permits.
Respectfully, Mr. LaRocca, I appreciate that the drawings will be changing the rented drawings will be easy. We're only cutting off the 2 feet, the board really does need to see it before they can work.
Okay, so you'd like me to cut 2 feet on the side, in the back cut 1, and then on the height, can I stick to the 24.5 or 24/7, which is compliant, or you can something there?
I don't think the pitch change would be any advantage. I think leave the roof the same as it is.
We're not here for the height variance.
No, the height seems compliant.
Yeah.
So I'll cut the 2 feet and the 1 foot off the back, and we have to wait until next month, or?
Yes, unfortunately, this is us, me really, their attorney, giving a sticker, making sure that the dotted T's are crossed, so I apologize, but you'll be held open to voting for next month, and then if the board sees the fines, we'll be granted based on the amended fines.
How many copies you got?
Just submit 2 copies to the building department, because they would have to check to see if it triggers anything on the denial letter, which doesn't sound like it will, but I can't answer for them. They'll send a memo to the zoning board with the changes, and if there's anything else needed, they'll know.
All right, so based on that one, again, do we no one want to speak for or against, correct? No. All right, then the case has to remain open until, you know, the voting to the amended plan.
Which is October 26th, so just get it to the building department well before October 26th, so they have time to look at it.
It's not on Halloween, my wife gets mad.
You can have, oh, you mean the meeting in Halloween? Yeah, if you come back, then you'll have to come in costume.
We're gonna,
Okay.
after this, we're gonna just take, we done or?
No,
Yeah.
we have
All right,
three
so
more.
the case will remain open, we're just gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just greedy putting such a big house on a property line like that. I mean, yeah, yeah. So he's gonna have 4 and 3 now, so.
Do you smell somebody smoking?
What?
I smell cigarette smoke. You smell it, right? Yeah, I smell like cigarette smoke.
I don't either.
No, I smelled it since we got up here. It's what?
It's been 13 years, but I kind of still remember that smell.
It's very distinct, yeah.
Another 2 minutes.
See, now you started.
Case number, oh. Oh, my God.
Got another one.
No one can go past
Go. You can start.
I do, but I just been eating all day. It's like ridiculous. Oh, I'll eat it. Three. What do you want me to tell you? But it doesn't seem like just many people. Look, Kenneth Wallinson. People. Kenny's got. He's got the what?
The paper is just as bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, now I can, as you're saying it, I know what you're saying. Okay, here we go. Case number 3377, application of Patricia Robbins of 748 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, for a variance from the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.2C, front yard, for a new front yard covered porch at 748 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 200, Lot 25, on the Nassau County Land Tax Map.
Good evening, Kenneth Apple for the applicant. This applicant is simply seeking permission to cover an existing porch on East Park Avenue. You're all familiar, Park Avenue obviously is a busy street. It's located right across from some commercial property. This block has several large homes, a bunch of two-family residences. My client purchased this home in the past year, is making major improvements that did not require variances. She's put about $150,000 worth of construction into the house. She put on a rear addition. Plans to move in here within the next year once it's done. And currently, the home has a front open porch. She's simply looking to put a roof over it. That's it. I don't think it can be simplified anymore. Go through the legal criteria. There's no undesirable change. It's literally a roof over an existing porch.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
At this point, nothing's going to change the dimension of the porch other than a roof over the porch.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Anybody on the
I think it's going to look aesthetic.
So it'll be aesthetically pleasing.
That's how it's going to look. Anybody for or against the order?
I'll take a large T-shirt with that.
All right.
I'll second.
Case number 3377, application of Patricia Robbins of 748 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.2C front yard, for a new front yard deck, front yard covered porch at 748 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 200, Lot 25, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. Chairman Morelli has introduced a motion to grant the application. Commissioner Leonetti has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Leese?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
Chairman Morelli?
Grant.
This application has been granted.
Thank you.
Don't go far, Ken. Yes. I think he is the last two. Case number 3378, application of Hamamoshi of 346 Central Avenue, Long Beach, Lawrence, New York, and East Park Avenue Associates LLC of 202 West Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following sections of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.15C rear yard, 9-106.2 mixed use prohibited, 9-113 off-street parking, constructing 4 units above commercial space at 138 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 110, Lot 17, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
Good evening, Kenneth Apple again on behalf of the applicant. We're here before you tonight to seek a relief for a change of use from commercial to mixed use. Currently, this property, as you know, is on Park Avenue as well, in the 100 block East Park, set up as a commercial attached building with approximately 13 small offices upstairs and a commercial retail space downstairs. We're seeking to convert the office space upstairs into 4 one-bedroom residential apartments. We're purchasing this building, and we're proposing to spend approximately $200,000 on renovation to do such. The commercial spaces upstairs have been on the market for over a year. The current owner is undergoing a severe hardship with the fact that the commercial space just can't be rented. The applicant's simply looking to do what the board has granted at 136 East Park, which is right next door, 132 East Park, 250 East Park, 148 East Park, and also across the street with the new building that's being built next to Citibank, which is going to be a mixed-use building. Currently, the owner not only has it vacant, but the downstairs commercial tenant is leaving as well. The current climate after COVID, as you well know, has changed the landscape of commercial property. You're all aware, it's been testified at all these other hearings. Mentioned above that several businesses are working from home. The need for commercial space is limited. I personally have an office where the stairs are steep. All these buildings have steep stairs. The offices are somewhat impractical without the elevators, depending on the business you're in. There's several of them on Park Avenue. Regarding parking, with 13 commercial offices, it requires over 20 off-street parking spots. The 4 one-bedroom apartments require only a waiver of 9. So regarding parking, it should have a positive impact on the area. Park Avenue has center malls. It's difficult parking during business hours, and the commercial tenants will actually make it tougher. The residential apartments should relieve some of the parking compared to the way it's zoned now. This board itself said on the variance next door that there's several mixed use up and down on Park Avenue, and the impact of residential units is less than the commercial use of the surrounding areas. That was a quote from the board in one of the prior cases. In addition, the city of Long Beach did a comprehensive plan, and they're encouraging this type of mixed uses up and down Park Avenue, which was part of the reasons that the other applications were granted that I mentioned before. We've had a few meetings on this. The architect is here if you have any questions regarding the plans. We feel we put our best foot forward for one-bedroom apartments. Obviously, there's no undesirable change to the neighborhood. It's very consistent with the neighborhood. It's going to be a benefit to the neighborhood, and the zoning board has granted this on prior applications for the same exact thing. This can't be achieved by any other means. Obviously, this is a tremendous financial hardship for not only the current owner, but whoever's going to buy this building, because renting commercial spaces is difficult, and like I said, those stairs being as steep as they are on Park Avenue, like my office, it makes it very difficult to put certain businesses in there without an elevator. It's not substantial. I believe it's not. We're not changing any of the internal structure of the building. We're just converting the offices into 4 one-bedroom apartments, 1.5 bathrooms, and it's not going to have a negative impact or adverse effect on the community or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. It doesn't affect it negatively. It's going to be a positive effect on the parking. And as you see from the surrounding properties on the block, it's going to actually be consistent with what's been going on Park Avenue, particularly in that area. I believe it meets the criteria and the long-term benefits of the community based on the comprehensive plan. And the benefits of this application, in my opinion, clearly outweigh any detriment to this property owner or the future property owner. So we can ask for your consideration on this and the approval of this as has been done on the other applications. The architects here, if you have any design questions or layout questions for the property. Thank you. Sure.
Other than us, have you had any contact any reaction from the city, or?
No.
No?
Nothing.
So the purpose is to convert these into apartments and then sell it?
No,
Sell
they're
the
gonna.
whole building?
My client, the applicant, is currently in contract to purchase the property.
Oh, okay.
His plans are to convert it into 4 residential apartments and own it and rent it. He's not gonna do anything with it.
While maintaining the commercial piece.
While maintaining the downstairs commercial piece. That's that large 99-cent store that's actually going out of business now, so that'll be rented to a commercial business.
Maybe Joe could answer some of the questions.
Good evening, Joe Gallinaro, 143 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, 11561.
Joe, Mr. Galliner, is there an alley in the back here?
There is an alley in the back, but the back alleys behind these buildings are filled with equipment and fences and all kinds of weird obstructions to get through, and that happens the entire city.
But there's some space before you get to the first residential backyard.
Oh, certainly, yes, there is. There's, the rear yard setback is almost 10 feet from the property line to the face of the building.
Okay. And are these 2 small terraces going to be overlooking people's yards, or? what-
They'll be facing off the rear yards of the residential area behind, yes.
Okay.
These balconies are less than 6 feet in depth, which leaves about 4 feet to the property line.
Is that vegetation, do you know, in the backs there?
Off the top of my head, I can't say for sure, but I do know that typically there is vegetation that's tall, mature trees and bushes in that, or, evergreen type in those back areas, yeah.
Okay.
Any other members of the board?
So I just want to confirm, the address, I see the 99-cent store, and then I see that, I'm not sure what it is on the left.
Frippery?
Clothing store, right.
Yeah.
Is that part of the same project? Is that?
That's the same building?
Same building, I mean?
Yeah, same building. That's the whole downstairs is the 99-cent store.
Right.
And then Frippery is the clothing store.
How long has it been, I know, Mr. Apple, you said that it's been about a year and a half, and I know with some of those professional offices in the flights up there, staircases as steep as they are, don't really lend themselves to actual, most of the usages, but that really kind of violate the ADA Act anyway, when you don't have it out there. So, it is a kind of difficult situation, I think, in today's economy and climate, to have walk-up commercial spaces with steep staircases with no elevators, with there's no handicap accessibility. So, even though mixed usages are not permitted, it seems like the climate has changed.
Yeah, I think the drafts of the master plans
Yeah,
have shown some mixed use. Is it-
I'd just like to hear, I don't think there's any difference, because we could be either in favor or against. I would move in favor.
I just have a question regarding, I see the I see one stairway as an entrance. I don't see any other exits. I'm sorry? Fire escapes?
Currently, in order to have 2 means of egress in the, staircases in the way that you're describing them, this amount of density doesn't require that. So you'll be using windows or the doors, stuff like that, because we haven't hit the requirement to add a second staircase. There's just not enough people or units.
So it's not required by code, is what you're saying?
Correct. We get to a certain height, certain building type, certain quantity, then the second stair, the elevator, that all starts to comes in per code.
But as per Mr. Apple, there are fire escapes planned? Is that what I'm seeing here?
No, there are no fire, there's no proposal for a fire escape with this plan.
So the stairs are the only way out if there's a fire?
The stairs are the only way out, and then there's also, as the only staircase, but the other acceptable route to leave or for someone to come and save would be windows, large windows, or the doors that are on the decks in the back.
And the mini decks on the front, too?
No, yes, they're not like you can stand out there, but there'll be large windows that are associated with the bedrooms that would get you in and out.
They have doors, it looks like.
Those are, I'm sorry, yes, those are in the bedroom, those little proposed Juliet-type balcony. Yes, thank you.
Air conditioning units on the roof, or?
Currently, yeah, there are air conditioning on the roof. We have one central mechanical / laundry suite in the hallway that will be accessed by all 4 apartments. And then exactly which unit has not been selected yet, the HVAC or anything like that.
No other questions for me?
Anybody else? Good. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant.
Second.
Case number 3378, application of Hamel Moshe of 346 Central Avenue, Lawrence, New York, and East Park Avenue Associates LLC of 202 West Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, for a variance in the following sections of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-105.15C rear yard, 9-106.2 mixed use prohibited, 9-113 off-street parking for constructing 4 units above commercial space at 138 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 110, Lot 17, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. Commissioner Acevedo has introduced a motion to grant the application. Chairman Morelli has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Lees?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
Chairman Morelli? This application has been granted. This next one should be, it's Dr. Matt moving across the street. Case number 3379, application of Dr. Matthew Cohen of 211 Blackheath Road, Lido Beach, New York, for a variance from the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-11221 off-street parking for a new medical pediatrician's office at 253 West Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 58, Lot 45, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map.
All right, good evening again, Mr. Gallinaro.
Good evening, Joseph Gallinaro, 143 East Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, representing Dr. Cohen. So this one seems, in my opinion, pretty straightforward in that he's simply moving his existing business from the current location to across the street. He will be gaining about 650 square feet. The business itself isn't changing, other than the exam rooms, the storage areas, stuff that the hallways will get slightly larger. Same amount for the most part. You're going to have the same amount of exam rooms, offices, lab space, financial space, the bathrooms, the waiting room. Everything just gets a little bit bigger, which is really going to help the patients and the practice. They need a little bit more space for the amount of stuff that they have in the current practice, current building, current space. The requirement would be for 20 spots minimum, and as we know that there aren't any spots on any of these commercial buildings to begin with, it's not going to be detrimental or increase any of the traffic flow. It's still going to be Dr. Matt operating the business, so it's not like he's hiring 100 doctors to come in and drag in a whole bunch more clients. It's going to be the same practice. So there'll be no real change there.
I mean, and doing business on
I'll second that.
Case number 3379, application of Dr. Matthew Cohen of 211 Blackheath Road, Lido Beach, New York, for a variance from the following section of the zoning code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach, New York. 9-11221, off-street parking for a new medical pediatrician's office at 253 West Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, also known as Section 59, Block 58, Lot 45, on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. Chairman Morelli has introduced a motion to grant the application. Commissioner Lees has seconded the motion. Commissioner Acevedo?
Grant.
Commissioner Lees?
Grant.
Commissioner Brooks?
Grant.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Grant.
Chairman Morelli?
Grant.
This application has been granted.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.